Welcome to Second Wind with Joyce Buford, a program for and about women. Joyce Buford is a certified coach who has a passion for helping women who need a second wind. Joyce is the creator of Uncover Your Hidden Genius, a program that will help you live a life of greater purpose, fulfillment, and ease. As a certified coach, she studied directly with her mentor, Jack Canfield, author of the Chicken Soup book series, where she served as an assistant to his training program. Through her study with many prestigious coaches and mentors, she has created a powerful program that has positively impacted hundreds of people. On today's program, Joyce and her guest will help you learn how to get your second wind. Now here's our host, Joyce Buford.
Good morning and welcome to Second Wind. It's just fascinating, this thing about life, isn't it? Life is about movement. And said in another way, life is about change. And how some of us fear that word change. Consciousness, this is a quote that was given to us by Aldous Huxley in his book, The Art of Seeing. He says, beautifully I might say, that consciousness is only possible through change. Change is only possible through movement. So when I thought of my guest this morning, I was thinking about the movement because my wonderful guest has been with us before. But she has demonstrated her movement in constant change. So we are welcoming today Linda Bard. Linda is known as an executive muse at her company, Find Your Creative Voice. A passionate and rebellious Renaissance woman, that is Linda, and she has been a creative entrepreneur for more than 2 decades. She is an expert at connecting women with their heart's desire, using her intuitive gifts and skill as a certified life prince hand analysis. Linda helps multi-passionate, evolving women decode and discover their unique soul purpose so they can live the lives of their dreams. As she loves to say, I help you see you so you can be you without apologies. Awesome, Linda Bard. I am so excited to have you back on the show. It's
you,
like,
Joyce.
yay! Oh,
yeah, actually, this is my 3rd time.
No kidding. Gosh, I
is.
just love you. See, I just want you back. I want you back. Because I think your message is so strong and you have such great tools to help women move through their transitions. So, you know, I'm going to sort of back up to give them a little bit of our story. We met at Women's eWomen's Conference in Dallas.
Right.
And you had your analysis, the let me say this better. Your Life Prince hand analysis, which is reading the palms of, not the palms, but the entire hand, I guess. And it just drew me in. Plus, you're such a likable person. I mean, you just have such great energy about you. So I was immediately drawn to this woman and her mission. So that's where it all started, wasn't it? And that was maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years or maybe even 5 years ago. It's been a while. and you know, so same kudos to you too, because your path has been evolving and you know, speaking, writing, and I heard that you have a new book out. Is that true?
Oh, I do, and I'm going to share that with them as we go into break. But
okay.
That was such a transition for me to write that book, and I'm so excited to be able to offer it to people. So I'm going to tell them about how to get it as we go into break. But I want you to tell me now. Now, you are a very energetic, vivacious woman, and going to your website is just, well, it's fun And that comes out very, very on the screen as somebody goes through your website. So I encourage everybody to do that. But what was the transition that you went through that kind of clarified that you needed to be doing this work versus another part of your life, or what really drew you to this work?
Well, I have been self-employed for 30 plus years, and part of that was because I just decided for myself that I couldn't work for anybody else in terms of, okay, show up here, stay until this time, and even though your work is done because you have to punch out at 5 o'clock and all of those rules, and I'm sort of a little bit of a rebel, and I said, this really kind of takes my soul energy away. And so I started out on a path of doing a lot of creative realm type of work. And so I have a business that I do voiceover work for commercials and corporate narration and audio books and stuff. And I have a business where I write and produce audio tours for museums and stuff. And that was very soulful, satisfying work. But I got to a place when I was kind of about my, let's say, early to mid 50s. And I just said, well, this is great. This is fabulous. But I was just feeling that call to give something back and do something more. And I wasn't quite sure what that looked like. And I started to explore different avenues and came across hand analysis as an amazing tool of self-discovery. And it's more than just, the typical personality profiles of, what's your type or this, that, or the other. It really does give you, you carry this map around in your hands. You were born with it because it also takes into account your fingerprints, which are unique to you. And basically, over the course of training with my mentor for over 3 years, I basically decode this map for you and just help you remember what you came in knowing but forgot over the years.
I love that. Yeah. What we forgot as we adapted to this world, right?
That's exactly right. And when I, talk to my clients, I encourage them to, without judgment or shame, because part of sometimes how we're wired emotionally is we might be on a path of service. We might be on a path of connection. We might be on a path of, doing things that are in our nature, but we tend to swing to the extreme of the pendulum, so to speak, and we get trapped then in either being in servitude to a particular way of life, or we're living the expectations of others that, and so we're not living our life, we're living their life. And, and so just to make that person aware, yes, connection is important to you, and when someone disconnects, it feels like a small death. But where do you set the boundaries so that you do not give yourself away to the extreme so that you're not living your own life? And so we start to look at all of those pieces because there's always, a shadow side or a downside, or as one of my colleagues says, a bad hair day about how, those aspects of our personality. And it's just the awareness around them that when we fall into that sort of reflexive response or behavior, now we go, oh, I'm kind of not setting a boundary here because I'm too interested in being connected, all to the point of being over-connected. So that for me is really the beauty of this. And the way that I am able to intuitively understand what needs to be shared with each person in that moment and brought forward, that's the beauty of, bringing my gifts to what it is that I do.
Right. Now, did you always have this intuitive gift? Or did you enhance it by working with a coach?
I'd always had it, but it was one of those things that I either applied just for myself in terms of quote unquote, trusting my gut, or would use with immediate friends and family. And with so many of our gifts, we take them for granted, right? Oh, it's just what I do. No big deal. And we forget until someone points it out. It's like, whoa, you have the ability to, really help people identify their core meaning, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess I didn't really look at it that way, and so yeah, I working with various coaches over the years, and being on this path of what I call the evolutionary woman, we all are looking to discover more about ourselves, but for me, it got to that place where, okay, I could, go forever and ever, deeper and deeper inside of me, which certainly the person who is working, doing the work in the world to help others, they do have to heal their wounds and explore themselves. But that, if you don't take some, action with that knowledge and help others in awareness, then it's really kind of, it's not, I won't say it's a pointless quest, but you're not utilizing your gifts in a way that lift others. And that's one of the, things I loved about, and I do love about eWomen, is that mantra is, lift as we climb, because we all have to help each other, especially in times like this, where the consciousness is just being raised like nobody's business.
Right. Yeah. Well, you referred to a moment that really brought your focus back into what were you going to do with your life? You had all these skills. You had a financially secure income coming in, and so were you going to stay? Were you going to use this gift, or just how are you going to? What was the plan for the future? So you call it a cosmic acupuncture moment, which I love. I love that. So anyway, share with us about that, because it was so unusual.
Well, I had been on the path of exploring what this, was what shape this new work in the world was going to look like for me, and I'd been attending various workshops and conferences and doing some programs and stuff, and I just was at this place because part of my life purpose is about being a transformational healer, and I wasn't quite sure what that meant. And so, we immediately sort of go to either the biggest thing, oh, well, does that mean I have to be the next Dalai Lama or the next Oprah, right? Or, or we go and we go, well, and then we start to kind of think, that inside the box, well, healer. So does that mean I have to do Reiki or massage or, whatever? And so I was just kind of really being very limiting in my thinking. And I just was at this workshop, and I said, I just don't think this healer stuff is what I'm, supposed to be doing. And because I just can't figure out what it means and what it looks like. And I went out, there was an evening session of this workshop, and as I went back to my car, and this was in Tucson, Arizona, as I went back to my car, I looked down, and this is like literally maybe 100 feet from the front door of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt this little, prick. And I thought, did I bump into a cactus? What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked down, and there's this snake scurrying underneath the car.
Oh.
And my husband was with me at the time, and I go, I think I just got bit by a snake. And so, I mean, I didn't scream, I didn't do anything. It was just this, an observation. And so he said, "Are you sure? Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I think it's under the car." So he gets down on his hands and knees, and he's looking, and he sees it, and he goes, "Well, I better take a picture of it, with my phone so that, we can show it to somebody." And I said, "Oh, I'm okay. It's fine." My husband goes, "No, we're going into the hotel." So the paramedics come, and they look at the picture, and they go, we're going to take you to the hospital. That's a rattlesnake." And so 2.5 days in the ICU, and it was, and so at that time, I really understood, because in Native American culture, snake medicine is really, really powerful. It's about transformation. It's about shedding old stories. It's about creativity. And I said, "Okay, message received." It's like, "You don't think you're a healer? Here, let's give you a little snake venom." So, so from that point on, I really said, okay, I can't be limited in my thinking. The universe has a bigger plan for me, and I need to step up and do something with that.
Right. Well, my curiosity goes, did you heal quickly, or was it really those 2.5 days, were you delirious and everything? Because the venom is very strong in a diamondback.
Yes, no, it is. And they literally came every couple of hours to test my blood, to make sure that, the factors were not, because what you can have organ failure and stuff, because the venom has an anti-clotting effect. Mm-hmm. And so they have to just measure what the ratio is to your blood and all of that. And I ended up, what's funny is that the name of the event that I was attending was called The Secret Energy of Money. And after being in the hospital, unfortunately, that was back in the day when I had good health insurance. Yes. But I ended up needing 12 vials of the anti-venom, and they were $4,000 a piece.
Oh my goodness! Oh
yeah,
wow.
So it, that was definitely the energy of money going right by there. And I did. I had there was kind of that in and out of hallucination or dream, sort of dreaming, and there were just a lot of things that kind of became clear to me in that moment, and I took that and went forward.
That is so powerful. For those of you that do not know a rattlesnake, that is a diamondback is a serious snake. And Linda has shared with us the seriousness of that whole event. But also there's kind of with something, that brings such serious conditions, there is another side. There's kind of like enlightenment, because you got to go through a very unique situation. Did Indians use the rattlesnake, the diamondback, for ceremonial enlightenment?
That I'm not sure of, but I know that they have there's vision quests that are done in many cultures like that, and where they, intentionally go out for it. And I was just like not really planning on it, but it happened.
Now, Tucson, Arizona is a lovely place to go. And not everybody that goes there gets bit by a rattlesnake. But what an unusual story to tell. I mean, Linda, very few people have that experience. So you have really been chosen.
Exactly. I mean, that, one of the things that I read was in a year's time, maybe 8,000 people in the whole United States will get bit by a snake, and not all of them are, poisonous.
Right.
So it was pretty, the odds of it occurring were pretty astronomical.
Yeah.
Especially when I wasn't even hiking out into the mountains. I was in a parking lot.
So you then took new meaning to your life and said, I'm going to use all the gifts I've been given, and started using it in your coaching. So when we first talked, you were primarily using the map with most women that needed some direction in helping clarify where they were wanting to go in their life. I did the experience, and it was very enlightening for me. So how did you get into what you call now the executive muse?
Well, and that's, a great explanation of how our work evolves from the standpoint of, okay, I started doing this is what it offers. And so if you're curious, about what is going on with you, and it's, again, it's that piece of, what makes me me? Let me find out a little bit more. But it's really evolved from the standpoint that now I'm really in a place of guiding creative and successful women who, how I say it is, been there, done that, and gotten a T-shirt, who are ready to unearth these hidden gifts that they've either forgotten about, put in the closet, have really not been honoring, so that they can, let's bring these to light so that you can answer your next call to adventure. And so now I'm working with a lot of people and some men, but mostly women at this point, who are ready to leave corporate America. They are, going, it's not about the next promotion, the next raise, the next project. They're just saying, like I did several years ago, I want to give back. There's something more I need to be doing that is bringing all parts of me forward. And and so they're at this place where they're willing to make that leap. They're on the threshold, and they need just that little push and that support. Because the other thing that happens is a lot of times you think, okay, well, I've been a lawyer, and so I don't want to practice law anymore, so what am I going to do? And it's helping them take a look at, okay, well, part of your gift, and these are markers that are, you have in your hands that can be shared, is that, okay, part of your gift is that you have the ability to synthesize an incredible amount of information. You have the ability to see the big picture and bring out the 3 or 4 things and simplify them so somebody can wrap their brain around it in a more practical way. Or you have this, gift of leadership that you aren't tapping into, So sometimes I'll say, they'll go, oh, well, I have this, leadership it's called the Star of Leadership in their hand, and they'll go, well, I'm giving I'm leading some trainings in my work, and it's like, okay, well that's 2% of what you have available to you. So where can you bring that forward more? So realizing for them that they have these skills that allowed them to do the work in the world that they're doing currently, but that they don't have to leave them behind. They can bring them forward and into the new vision of what it is that they want to do. And that's where the purpose piece comes in, of finding out what their purpose is through the energetic map of their fingerprints, which are unique to them.
Right. Yeah. Well, I experienced what you do regularly with a group of retired State Farm women. And, who would have thought that they wouldn't have a clue? But they didn't have a clue what they wanted to do when they grew up or when they moved on from State Farm.
Right, exactly.
So but I applaud them because this was one of the workshops that their group was offering. It was a group that gets together of women agents, and I just applauded them for at least taking the step to think about, some of them were at different age groups, so they were not as close to retirement as some of the others. But there's also those that just want to change. They've just burned out because the stress of the job gets to so many people these days. Yeah,
definitely. And you have to have that moment, and not everybody has to have that cosmic acupuncture moment to go, oh, I really should be doing this. But it does often, unfortunately, come as a result of some external influence that says, okay, we're stopping the merry-go-round. So, it could be the death of a parent. It could be, getting fired. It could be, there are external circumstances that cause you to say, okay, this is happening. I have this opportunity to reassess, and do I really want to get back on the merry-go-round and continue? And if they're,
well, I'm going to stop
that support. Yeah.
Linda, I'm going to stop you here, and we can continue this after break. But we're going to take a short break now so that you can learn about other things in this world. So we will be back shortly to listen to more.
Transformational coach, motivational speaker, and author Joyce Buford returns after this short break.
Would you like to know how to bring more ease to all the decisions you need to make in life? Knowing your core values is the first step in Joyce's free live masterclass. You'll discover your top 5 core values in as little as 45 minutes. Join her now at freegiftfromjoyce.com. Close your eyes and imagine living your life without limits. Where would you go? Who would you meet? What would you do? During an Uncover Your Hidden Genius session, you will discover what's keeping you from living your life with purpose, passion, and fulfillment of your potential. You'll get a clear vision of the steps you need to take to uncover your hidden genius so that you can live a life without limits. Sessions can be done over the phone, Skype, or in person. Find out more at www.joycebufordempowers.com or by calling 903-287-0747.
Welcome back to this segment of Second Wind. Joyce Buford, the creator of Uncover Your Hidden Genius, continues in this segment to share insight that will help you live a life of greater purpose, fulfillment, and ease. Now here's our host, author and coach, Joyce Buford.
We are talking today with Linda Bard, a coach, an executive coach for executive muse, for finding your creative voice. But I wanted to share a creative moment for me before we get into that, and that would be the exciting news that I've released my first book. Now, the book title is Effortless Happiness: How to Find Your Voice and Finally Ask for What You Really Want. Now, my new book is now available from my website, JoyceBufordEmpowers.com, or Amazon. But, I often have friends that come up, other people that ask me, why did you write a book? That seems so hard, so difficult. But my main purpose was to help women begin to really know what they wanted in their lives. You see, I use this tool when I was trying to get clarity as to who I was, what I wanted to be, who I wanted to be, where I was going. You need first to start with clarity. So then I thought, after I used this tool and found it most helpful to me, I said, it's got to be shared, which is what a coach and a person does. They find their gift, and then they say, we got to share this so that more women can use this tool to find where they are and move them through confusion into clarity. That's why we're here. So if you're looking for clarity, my friends, my dear, dear friends out there, check out my book. And you can get an autographed copy if you want one from me at JoyceBufordEmpowers.com. Or you can go to Amazon and get your copy there. But whatever, please, please think about getting this book for you and the gift of clarity to help you move forward in your life. So, all right, Linda, let's get back and talk about, we talked about using the reading, okay, I'm searching here for words, cosmic acupuncture moment for reading my hands, and I know that's not the way you say it, but anyway, you're doing this so that you can help people identify their purpose. And so another way to clarity, dear listeners, another way to clarity. And she uses what she calls a divine roadmap, which is in your hands, which is just awesome because our hands are so unique. We're the only ones that have our hands. So it's our pattern of our life. And
exactly.
It is what makes you so special. But tell us more about using and how you work with people to use our roadmap to move us forward.
Well, one of the because the work that I do, it combines elements of the ancient wisdom of palmistry as far as the major lines like your head line, your heart line, your lifeline kind of thing. But it's not predictive. And then it also takes into account your fingerprints. So one of the major lines is our heart line, and that's the line that is the first line that you would look, if you're looking at the palm of your hand, it's the first line that is about an inch below the base of your fingers. And so depending upon how far the line goes across the hand, whether it's straight or curved, that reveals aspects of your emotional style, how you're wired emotionally to express and give love, be loved, want to be loved in the world. And when I talk to clients, it's like, okay, well, if your non-negotiable need is meaning, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to be the kind of person, and this is, I have both, because you can have two different heart lines, but I have two of these particular heart lines. And so I am really happiest when I'm engaged in deep conversation. I'm not going to be hanging out talking about the Housewives of Atlanta with people. It's just not my thing. But my blind spot because of this is, because I'm very engaged and meaning is everything. I'm very considerate, making sure everybody is, got what they need and everything. But my blind spot is that I overthink emotions. So I'll be in a situation and someone will say something and I go, so, when I go home, I'll go, so did they mean it was okay? Or did they mean okay? So I know this tendency about myself, and I will catch myself and go, okay, don't go down the rabbit hole around this because you know how you have this tendency to overthink.
Right.
And so how this translates into business for when I talk to my clients is that, all right, so in this particular situation, my emotional style allows me to bring, thoughtful, solution-oriented approaches so that my clients feel taken care of and listened to, right? But the shadow side, the bad hair day side around that is if I'm overthinking, then how can I move forward if I'm just, well, did you mean this? Did you mean that? Did you mean this? Did you mean that? So that's one aspect. And I, talk about there's a heart line that the non-negotiable need is freedom. And so they're happiest when they're working and getting tangible results, right? They love to, how they express love is by doing practical things for others. So if you're wired, to be the passionate heartline and need rose petals and, flowery cards and everything like that, and your partner is someone who, it does show that they're loved by picking up the laundry and mowing the lawn, you guys have to have a conversation, right? Because part of what this is be your type, but integrate a percentage of your opposite. So if I understand that you need flowers, then I make that effort to have it. If I understand your need is for deep conversation, then I make an effort to, bring that into our relationship more than I would because I don't necessarily need it that much, but I know it's important to you. So, someone whose non-negotiable need is freedom, they're like, get down to business, brass tacks, this, that, and the other. And so in a business situation, clients will love your integrity and your, willingness to give them proof and, bottom line facts. But the shadow side of this, the blind spot of this freedom heartline is you kind of hold your feelings inside, not that you don't have them, and you don't ask for help. You kind of like are a lone ranger going out there doing it alone. So once we understand these aspects of how we're wired emotionally, we can see when we are falling into that place of, oh, I'm not asking for help again. Where could I do this? Because it will make it that much easier for me to move forward. And where are the strengths that I can bring forward to serve my clients, because they need that place of connection. They need that place of groundedness. They need that place of inspiration. So, and what I'll say is if you go to my website, which is findyourcreativevoice.com, in the upper right corner, you can put your email and name, and then you will get a copy of a PDF of all of these different heartline styles, so you can, with images, so you can look and see if you have match your own and find out a little bit more about how you're wired emotionally.
Well, Naz, I have my hands open in front of the mic, and I'm looking at them, and they're different. My right hand is not like my left hand. So which one are we supposed to be reading?
Well, so I read both, because your right hand, your dominant hand, I should say, is the you out in the world. And so if you, like your little finger on, your little finger on both hands is about communication. And so it's on your right hand, it reflects communication out in the world. And so if that's where your highest ranking fingerprint is, then your purpose is woman with a message. If you're dealing with stuff, little finger on the left hand, it's more about intimate communication, because our non-dominant hand is more our inner world and our inner close circle, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how you show up in both places, what I'll say is, your out in the world hand is how your house looks when company is coming, and your inner world is like when you haven't picked up in a while, and you just kind of laying around, and it's all comfy for you, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, this would be very fascinating, very interesting, I think. I'm not kidding when I said your website is just, it's a pleasure to go through it, because you have it so well divided and clear about why a person would want to work with you, about their issues and problems, but you also you're in the Portland, Oregon area, and it would
Correct.
be so much fun because you have activities that you do, such as singing at the mic to face fears. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. In fact, we're doing one tomorrow night, and it's called Time to Shine, and it is really, people think, you're just going to sing, but it's so much more than singing, because it's a really sacred container, that little private suite, and a very safe and supportive environment to just get up and kind of let yourself be in the spotlight.
And that's so important. That when we open ourselves to sharing whatever it could be, maybe a song in this situation, or a poem. I'm sure you allow them to do other things than just sing. But when they do, I mean, you're like slicing your chest open and showing it all. It's a very intimate thing. And I think singing, which I've struggled with this for years, because I love to sing, but singing solo is more of a challenge. And so I just think, knowing that you've come to a group of women they've got their hands around you, like holding you up. I think that's really a gift. And women really achieve a lot by this. Tell me about, you were sharing about one woman that I thought it would just be one time and you've done it, but you have another woman that's come back repeatedly for this.
Yeah, definitely. And that was one of my, because I sort of just got this intuitive download that I needed to create this environment for people to step forward and through this particular type of event. But there was one woman that she, very successful coach, speaker, and so I said, "Oh, come sing karaoke," and she's like, "No. I do not sing." And I was really kind of surprised because, here she is speaking on stages, and that's really when it hit home for me, was that this is a different kind of vulnerability. Yes. And so she came several times. And then I had another friend who, as I mentioned earlier, or the other day with you, she has come almost every single time. And she, again, was like, had never really been out there doing any of this. And she has just blossomed. I mean, now, I've been doing it about 2.5 years, and she is speaking on stages regularly. She actually has now left or will shortly be leaving her place of employment and going out on her own and creating her own company. And it's just amazing the growth that this catalyzes for people, because it's like, you think, oh, if I, just because I can get up and sing in front of, 20 people that's going to make a difference, it really triggers something inside of us to go, I could do this.
Well, it's a great confidence builder. Once you know, I sang that, I did, and nobody booed me off the stage, nobody laughed, we're all.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, is that, like you said, when you get up and you're kind of maybe, feeling your way around the tune, inevitably someone will get up and like sing backup vocals for you, or whatever. Because it's cute. Like, I got your back, girl.
Now, do they bring their own music? Is that recorded music? Is that what they sing to?
This particular company, they have a whole thing that's already pre-programmed, and they have a big book, a catalog that you can flip through and choose by song or by artist, and then and they have an app that you can just type in the number code of the song, and it's hooked up to their system, and so it just automatically queues up, and you just go and go and go.
Go and go and go. Well, I love the idea. This was kind of funny. There was a group that gathered around Christmas, and it was hosted in somebody's house. And so for those that she knew sang, she would invite them to get up. So I was trying to sing my solo once again. And I wasn't really prepared because there's this little thing inside of me that just thinks I get up and I'm going to be perfect. Wrong. And so I got to sing. And my voice was shaking like crazy, and I was singing Amazing Grace, which is one of my favorites. And I had a friend that was sitting out there, and she was crying. And she's known me for years. We have boys the same age. And I couldn't get over the tears. I was like, oh, this is not going well. I knew it was. But we shared after, and she said, Joyce, it was so beautiful. I was so happy for you. It was just a funny moment of growth, really. And I applaud you for doing this.
Yeah, and that's really key because, again, we underestimate our ability to impact the lives of others, and we again take it for granted, and we have these hidden gifts inside of ourselves that need to be recognized, need to be brought out into the light, so that we can, not from a place of ego, go, well, I can do this and I can do that. It's from, I have this ability to, and it was funny because I was just looking, I pulled up your hand analysis chart, and you have that two of the gift markers in your hands. One is that ability to synthesize information and solve big important problems, because you can see the big picture and all the pieces that need to come together. So that's one of the gifts that you have. And you also have the ability to see beyond the veil, to find meaning where others can't see for themselves at that point, and help people to understand who they really are. So those are gifts that you came into the world with, and are using, full out right now, and that you may have used them in small areas as you were, growing up, but now you're taking them and playing big with them, and that's really ultimately what it's all about, is understanding what we have to work with, and then doing something with it.
Right. Gee, I need to copy that again.
Yeah, I'll
review that. We're going to review that again. Now, what tool do you use? Do you have a particular tool that you use with somebody to help them identify their gifts, other than the reading of the hands?
Well, primarily, so what's the beauty of this is that I can, you don't have to be local to do it. I have, clients in Australia and China and Canada. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but basically, I send someone an ink sheet that they can, if you've ever been to kindergarten and done hand painting, printing, you can do this. And so I send them the ink sheet, and they take the print of their hand, and they can either mail it back or they can just scan it and send it to me. And then I mark it up and go through all of the aspects of it, and then I send it back to them all marked up so that they can understand what the different markers are and the lines and stuff. And there's stuff that can show up, because like when you take the print, what doesn't print, sometimes the middle of the palm will not show. It'll be, so when you put your hand down and lift it up, there'll be a little bit of a white space in the middle. And that means something, right? And so that's the part. It's like, it's not just what shows, it's what doesn't show, because that's sometimes the place where we're hiding out, or we're, just kind of sitting in the void trying to figure out what's next.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting that we, without knowing, we carry a tool that can give input to our lives. It can help us. I mean, we've always got the gift of meditation to help us get clarity. Some people struggle getting into meditation because it is more about quieting the mind in the beginning, which is a challenge for most of us that live in this generation where we have constant bombardment from the TV and our cell phones and all that. It's hard for us these days to be quiet, unless we're standing on the ground outside so we could connect. Yeah. So, but, to realize that we have these tools just attached to us that can enlighten us and give us insight as to who we are, where we want to go, and what's possible for us. That's an awesome tool there.
Well, and, we hear, it's constantly said, we have all the answers within. And that is true, but we all, we also don't necessarily know how to access them. It's, sort of like, that's why people don't cut their own hair, because it's a little bit hard to do.
Yes.
But, what I say is that, I help you to be reminded of what it is that you're here to be in this lifetime. And a quick story: one woman, I did her hands, and her purpose was building a community with heart. And so again, it was like that could be sort of broad and overarching. And I said, does this resonate for you? And she said, well, about 5 years ago, I bought this ranch kind of with the idea of, making like a summer camp for disadvantaged children. And I said, well, that would be a community with heart. and I mean, literally, the light bulb just went on in her eyes. I was like, oh, yeah. And so she kind of knew it. That's why she bought the property in the first place. But she wasn't clear. She didn't have the clarity around what that meant. So she was sort of listening to that inner call, but it took someone to point it out. Oh, this is why you're here. This is why you bought it. Now make it happen. And that's the beauty of this, because like I said, we do know, we just need to have someone, point it out to us so that we can see it sort of in, glowing letters or lights or whatever, and go, oh yeah.
Well, Linda, if people want to know more, if they want to connect with you so that they can have their future opened up and they can better understand who they are, how do they do that?
Well, you can certainly email me, Linda at findyourcreativevoice.com. And you can also just go to the website and, like I said, look around. And also, if you just want to put your name and email, you'll be able to get access to the Heartline information that I was talking about earlier.
There's also a place where they can sign up for a reading with you, correct?
Oh, yes. Yes, they can. Yeah.
Well, all said, this has just been a fascinating hour. You all just don't understand how much Linda and I could keep talking. We have the whole baby story where she becomes a grandmother. And that
right, that's
transition
another call.
That's another time you're going to be with me. I'm so excited. So there's always time, but I love the way that you say that I love to see you so you can be you without apology. What a great summary that is of your work and how you can change people's lives. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I'm always happy to be here.
We'll do it again. But for you all out there that are listening to this call or this podcast, I hope that you will look at your life and see how it can change, how you can get your second wind through calling Linda, by buying my book, whatever you need, that tool to help you move forward in your life. There's no need to sit with frustration and pain anymore. We're out there here waiting to help you as you transition into the magnificent woman that you can be. Not to say you're not magnificent now, because you are special, but sometimes we can't see it. And we want you to see it and live it. And as Linda says, time to shine. So till next week.
Joyce Buford returns next week at this same time for another edition of Second Wind. Through the Joyce Buford Empowerment System, women are receiving support during their transition and are able to reclaim their true purpose and strength. They receive the tools they need to map out new lives. You can find out more about her coaching services at